Welcome back, everyone, to the Poke Table Podcast. My name is Logan here with Zippy's Card Corner, and I'm joined by my co-host Alex from Poke Legends TCG. We're two small online Pokemon card shops where we're kind of figuring out the market, understanding the current news, and what's going on in the TCG world. Speaking of news, there wasn't much this week, so we can go ahead and just dive into what's going on with our business. Alex, I'll hand it off to you.
Yeah. And guys, please make sure to like and subscribe. It's super important to us. We'd be forever grateful. Please don't forget to hit that like button and that
Definitely.
subscribe button. A couple business updates. So one, I'm gearing up for the vendor card show coming up in a couple
Yeah,
weeks,
that's right.
October 24th and the 25th in Carmel. So if you're local, please come see me. I'd be super happy to meet you guys. So gearing up for that, I'm ordering some shirts. I'm ordering some
Oh, cool.
signage for the vendor table. Yeah,
All right.
and I'm
You're
doing
doing the
it
whole the
with
whole whole shebang.
what's that?
You're doing it for real. Like,
Yeah, I'll do it for real.
nice.
I'm like, diving with both feet in,
Cool,
and
man.
I'm doing it with uh, Corsby Gaming, who's actually been
Yep.
on the podcast a couple times. He's
Yep.
doing basically all singles,
Yeah.
and I'm going to be doing basically all seal product. So we're sharing a table. It should be cool. I'm going to try and take some videos. And I'm hoping it'll be fun. So that's
Sweet,
number
man.
one. Number two, I had my big English drop
You did.
last weekend. Went super well. There were a few things that didn't sell. That didn't sell out of. But that's okay. It was a super successful drop. Something around 6,500 in sales, something like
Nice.
that, in that ballpark. But I did have the most orders ever in a day. I had
Crazy.
like 45 orders or something in a single day, which was
Busy.
fun to pack.
Yeah,
And
busy
more
packing
on
day.
that later, by the way. Stay tuned. We have a whole
Yeah.
topic on shipping.
Shipping and things like that.
Um,
Yeah.
and then another business update, and this is the one I'm most excited for. And I have Logan to thank for a lot of this because we've had a lot of conversations on, content creation
Both on the stream and off the stream.
on the stream and off the stream. Right, exactly. So my last few videos on Instagram have done a lot better. Like I'd say 3 to 4x. Some of them certainly 3 to 4x
Yeah.
more than the average. And I think the biggest change that I've been making lately is just the emphasis on the hook for my videos.
Yeah.
Definitely took a page out of Logan's book there, because the most time that you put in your video should be in the first like 10 seconds. So that's
Yeah.
the most crucial part of the video, and that seems to have worked. So
Sweet. Yeah.
it's really
It,
cool to
it,
see,
it's
really awesome to see the success, and it's really giving me motivation to keep going. So,
yeah.
yeah. So now, Logan, I know that you've had a couple really cool things,
Sure.
like the Chinese set. So
Yeah.
I'll let you take it from there. I know you got a couple cool updates too.
Sure. Yeah. So, um, we Zippy's Card Corner has stocked up on Gem Pack Volume 3, which is the latest simplified Chinese set. And it has the exclusive Gengar, the Cubone, the Meowth, the Cerulege, and the Chandelure. A lot of like spooky vibes, which I think helps play into kind of the spooky season that a lot of people are feeling right now. So the boxes came in yesterday. This was after like honestly like 2 weeks of shipping. This was the longest like I've waited for a box, since starting my business because it shipped from China. I don't know if that has anything to do with it. Me, kind of figuring things out. I assume that's what it is. But I ordered these, 2 weeks ago, and they came in yesterday. I put them up on my site around 1 p.m. in the afternoon, sent out a newsletter, and by the end of the night, I had sold 15 boxes in a
Insane.
single day, and it was like close to 15 separate orders. Um, and there were some orders that people bought other stuff too. Like they came to the site thinking they were going to buy, the box, Simplified Chinese box, and then they also bought an Inferno X box, or they bought, a Terrestrial Festival box. It was a very surprising day, in terms of what I saw from this like release. This isn't even like a release because the set came out 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
This was just the first time that I had posted it on my site. Um, and I just, yeah, it was the most engagement that I've received about a product on Instagram. And because I had people DMing me like, because I posted it on my story and they're like, what is this? Like, I need this, or like, send me the link or whatever. So I had a lot of people very interested in it. Um, and I'm not quite sure what to think about it. Like, is this a is this a sign to go heavier into simplified Chinese, or is it just kind of the hype around this current set, spooky seasons, and here, and more people are getting into it. Simplified Chinese. I'm not sure. It was a very weird. It was a very weird quote unquote launch.
Yeah. Now, Logan, do you want to go into just a little bit as to why this set, the Chinese
Yeah.
sets in particular, are starting to take
Yeah.
the
So
Pokemon TCG by storm?
yeah, so a little bit of context. You have Japanese, you have Thai, you have Indonesian, you have Korean, you have all these. Sorry, I had an alarm going off. You have all these international sets that come out at the same time. Japanese has Inferno X. Korean's going to come out with their Inferno X and probably soon. Anyways, that leads the pack in terms of the ordering. And then it comes English, which is like 2-3 months after, right? Simplified Chinese is a brand new language and new market entirely. Pokemon just started printing simplified Chinese Pokemon cards for mainland China, not like Taiwan or Hong Kong. Those are traditional Chinese Pokemon cards, and they've existed. But simplified Chinese is a brand new language set. It's a brand new market, simply for mainland China, and they started printing these probably 2023 or 2022. I forget the exact date. However, they are actually behind in terms of international and English languages. So right now, in English, for example, let's just do this, as an example. Right now, we are heading into Phantasmal Flames, the second mega set in the mega block. Simplified Chinese just came out with Gem Pack Volume 3 and the Obsidian Flame set, which is like, what, a year and a half, almost 2 years ago? So they're about a year to 2 years behind. Okay, well, this is like, mainland China is a huge market, right? It's obviously China. Pokemon has to understand, how do we get people to buy a 2-year-old set? And here's where things get really weird. They started introducing exclusive Pokemon cards in these sets. It's that extra incentive for people to buy specifically simplified Chinese Pokemon cards, is to chase after these exclusives that are not printed anywhere else, not Japanese, not English, nowhere. And so you have Gym Pack Volume 3, and there's 5 exclusive Pokemon cards, the Gengar, the Cubone, the Meowth, etc., that you cannot find anywhere else. And, given the current boom and the hype around Pokemon cards, especially with English being a lot harder to get these days, especially for MSRP, you have a lot of people trying out Japanese, seeing this new simplified Chinese stuff with exclusives, trying that out. So that's sort of where simplified Chinese sort of fits into the current market. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and I think there are two big things. One, it gives people a chance to buy sets that are now almost out of print in English. So, like,
Yeah,
you can't find
that's a
Obsidian
good point.
Flames anywhere in the wild now. And I know they just got done with 151. You can't find 151 anywhere in the
No.
wild now. So I think that is a major factor, and plus the exclusives. I mean,
Yeah.
the exclusives. I think some of them are going for hundreds of dollars. Some of the exclusives.
Yeah, the Gengar is I think yesterday I checked, it's selling for upper 300s. Last sold on
Yeah,
eBay raw.
yeah,
Like not even a PSA 10, not anything graded, just a raw card.
yeah. Insane. So yeah, you know, and
And
keep me up.
I want to say, I think a lot of the uh, the FOMO right now, which builds hype, which builds, excitement and drives price up for simplified Chinese, is because it's a lot less accessible
Yeah,
than Japanese. Now, I was in a live stream yesterday with a rip and ship, and I had someone ask like, how do you even buy Japanese Pokemon cards? Like as a business. And, Alex and I do this every day. So to us, maybe we take it for granted. Um, but there is a process to get Japanese Pokemon. There are hoops that you have to jump through in order to
sure.
get Japanese cards. Simplified Chinese, very similar process, but there's a lot less people out there that are doing it. There's a lot less access simply because, you know, uh, uh, people over in China don't have the same social medias as us. They don't have the same services, right? They don't use Instagram as much. They have their own other, China specific apps because there's a billion plus people there. Like, there's the hoops are even harder to find before you have to jump through them, um, which I think plays into sort of um, things right now. Like, for example, on eBay, you can go and search for Gym Pack Volume 3 booster boxes on eBay. And, the first 20 of them will be, $75 boxes. I sell them for 100 on Zippy's Card Corner for context. Um, However, if you look closely, they are all shipped from China. And it doesn't incorporate shipping fees and it doesn't incorporate tariffs. So you pay for shipping for one or two boxes, you pay that 15% tariff, and you're already looking over 100. So that's sort of where uh, it's just a weird time right now, and not enough uh, pieces out there to kind of educate the average collector. It's a really interesting thing that we're seeing right now with it.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. And we've talked about this before. Like, it doesn't make sense to buy directly from
Hmm.
the seller anymore, from Japan or
For one
whoever.
or two boxes. If you're
Yeah,
buying like 40,
sure.
sure, go for it.
Yeah,
But most people are not. That's what
yeah,
businesses are doing. And I was
yeah,
trying to explain this in the live stream. Um, and I gave them the step by step on how to do it. And by the time they were like, yeah, I'm good. I'm not gonna do that.
yeah,
Because it's a lot of work. And
yeah,
you're paying for convenience, you're paying for, not having to deal with the hassle of shipping and tariffs and waiting around. Like, no, you buy from Alex or myself today, and it'll be at your doorstep in 3 to 4 days. Um, Without tariffs, without anything. You pay a flat rate fee for shipping. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, yeah, for sure. It's a crazy time. I never thought we'd ever get to a point where Chinese Pokemon cards are going for $100 a booster box. Complete
Yeah.
insanity.
I know. And the thing is they have to keep doing that, in order to keep people interested in investing in simplified Chinese because it's so late.
Yeah,
It's like, man, can you imagine when Journey Together comes out in simplified Chinese if they didn't have exclusives?
yeah.
It would be worth nothing.
It'd be worth nothing. Exactly.
um, and so it's just it's funny.
Yeah.
Anyways, uh, I'll end the Gym Pack Volume 3 stuff there. We have just a handful of boxes left. But I think I'll be definitely ordering more. Um,
Yeah.
Another update for Zippy's Card Corner is we actually have this video will come out on Sunday afternoon. So the following day to you guys, the viewer, we will have already done our October English drop for the month. And I think this one is probably we'll have the most hyped products. And I think You know, there will be some products that we don't necessarily put up on the site just for transparency, just because of, you know, the current timings and, you know, prices of certain products. I don't necessarily feel like I want to put them out there for the price that I'll need to put them out there, while also giving you guys a good deal. But there are a bunch of other products that are going to go live, that Mega Evolution, Prismatic, Destined Rivals, Black Bolt, White Flare. It's going to be fun. I'm excited for it. We'll see how it goes. Um, I think from this time around last month, I had around 5,000 less followers. So tack on an extra 5,000 followers, tack on opening up Zippy's Card Corner to Canada, UK, and Australia, and Singapore now as well. We'll see how it goes. But I'm excited.
Cool. No, I mean, that's awesome, dude. And one of the things that Logan mentioned is sometimes we as store owners, we have to hold certain products
Yeah.
for not a significant amount of time, but sometimes just to in order for us to get a 10% profit margin and for our customers to get a good price, sometimes we have to hold product for a little bit,
Yeah.
and that is part of the business.
Yeah, and
Um,
it was definitely a learning opportunity for me,
yeah,
because last month, you know, there were some products that didn't quite sell like I thought they would, and you know, it just kind of it, it made me reflect a little bit on what products are people wanting right now, what products are coming down in price that other people can get a better deal elsewhere, right? Like that's, you know. I know that there's going to be people that hear that I'm selling for over MSRP and they're going to say that I'm a scalper. But the mentality that I have, at least, is that I'm trying to give my customers the best price possible and paying for convenience, right? So I've expressed that people can go to Target. I encourage you to go and wait in line at Target or Walmart or GameStop, you know, at 6, 7 a.m. For a chance. That's fine. That's totally cool. Um, However, there's a lot of people that just don't have that opportunity, and so there's, you know, sites like Alex and I, where like we're not here to make, you know, we're not here to flip things. We're not here to make the most profit that we absolutely can. It's offering products to customers who do not necessarily have the opportunity to get it at MSRP, and also get product lower than market. Most of the time, we try to, while also giving ourselves, you know, that 10% profit margin to go out and buy more product, on Facebook Marketplace or trading or local deals or whatever, so that the next month we have even more, and more people can participate. Um, so that's that. I just want to emphasize that that's sort of the mindset.
yeah, yeah. I mean, if you go to Brian from PokeNE, if you go to his website, you'll see Mega Evolution ETBs for $95. Is he a scalper? It's just we're
Yeah.
sort of held hostage by the market. Um, you know,
Yeah.
Pokemon cards are going crazy. And speaking of the market, Logan,
Yeah.
there are some whispers, there's
Yep.
some rhetoric
Yep.
of the market cooling down. Could be cooling down. So I'm interested to get your take. Do you think there are any signs of the market shifting?
I think that there were. It's hard to say. I think that typically the general, you know, perspective is as we head out of summer and into winter and the holiday season, we start to get more energy, more interest in the market, which drives prices higher, and that's sort of the cyclical annual, you know, it's the annual cycle. And you know, I was thinking that this year wouldn't be any different. You know, we have Inferno X in Japanese that's super hyped right now. People are still wanting it. Phantasmal Flames is coming out with, you know, amazing artworks. At the end of the year, we're going to be having our Japanese hyper high class set come out. Um, you know, Pokemon is still struggling to reprint things. At least the things that are super hyped. Um, So I don't know. I think there are things to be aware of. Like for example, Surging Sparks and Twilight Masquerade sets have been um, reprinted. We're getting a ton of ETBs on the market, and it is driving prices down. Um, we've seen this before though. Prismatic, a bunch of restocks at your local Costco's and Sam's Club will drive prices down for a little bit, but wait another 2-3 months and the prices are right back there. Um, so I'm not sure. I don't know. What's your take?
Yeah, so I do think it's interesting that like Twilight Masquerade, just for context, it was going for like $100 in ETB
Right.
about 3 months ago. And now with the reprints, it's now down to like, I don't know, $67 in
Yeah.
ETB. It's a
Ish.
pretty significant drop, and we're
Oh yeah.
talking 30+%.
Yep.
Same thing with Surging Sparks.
Yep.
Surging Sparks ETBs were going for, about $100 in ETB. Now they're about $70 in ETB.
Yep.
Now, when you look at Prismatic Evolutions, though, there have been a ton of reprints of Prismatic Evolutions.
Yeah.
Costco and Sam's Club in particular got a ton of stock from the mini tins with Costco and the Lucario collection box that had the 14 packs. It didn't seem to really even make a dent. Um, so I definitely think it's no secret that Pokemon's trying. Like they are
Yeah.
definitely printing the maximum capacity. Like you can definitely see it. But I think the problem is, and we've talked about this before, is with the release schedule of a new set every, what, two
3 much
months
2-3
ish,
months. Yeah.
2.5 months or so. I think Pokemon's averaging what 5 or 6 sets a year, something like
Hmm.
that. I think with that print schedule, it's just you just don't have enough time to reprint every set. I just don't think there's enough time to print enough. So I do think that prices will dip from these reprints and these restocks, but but like if I think there's going to be a market correction, my opinion is no. I don't think we're anywhere near close.
No,
Um,
I think I think what we could see is that prices slow down in terms of rising.
sure.
Prices have been rising. Destin Rivals booster boxes have been rising for the 4 or 5 months that it's been out consistently.
Yeah,
Maybe we hit a point where it starts to settle down. Maybe it pulls back a little bit, but instead of 500 a box, it's now to 350. And it's
yeah,
um, like that is still super strong of a price of a product. If you're an investor that's looking to flip quickly in the short term, then that may scare you. But I think you know it would take a lot of people having to sell, feeling this need to sell, flooding the market with more product that supplements Pokemon's reprinting. Um, I think to really make a difference, and I don't know. I don't know if we'll see that. I'm not sure. Um, but yeah, to Alex's point, there's no way we're going back to MSRP anytime soon. There's no way we're getting to like a new. I don't want like this is the new normal, guys. Like it's been this way for a year now, over a year. So like this is normal at this point, and I think to get out of this to an even better spot, we're heading into Legends EA comes out next week. We have a couple sets, potential Zygarde set in January that will likely, hint at, Legends EA theme. We got 30th anniversary coming up next year, potential Gen 10 game next year. Like,
yeah.
guys,
One thing after another.
it's one thing after another.
Yeah,
We're still gonna be in this normal, I think, for at least another year and a half.
yeah. And then think of all of the sets that it will go out of print in a year. I mean, we have so many good sets of Scarlet and Violet. I mean, Twilight Masquerade, Surging Sparks, Prismatic Evolutions,
Yep.
Destined Rivals. I mean, when those get close to that 2 year cycle, you know, those are just going to go nuts. So, yeah, and I agree. I don't see this hype train slowing down anytime soon. Now, Logan, something I want to ask you though is, when do you think this will end? Like, and what would be some signs that you would look forward to kind of more or less see the writing on the wall?
So, I, as Pokemon businesses, Alex and I really try and, keep our eyes peeled with what's going on. I listen to, other business owners that have distribution, who have access to, distributor meetings and things like that. And there is Pokemon has bought an entirely new printing company to print new things, and it's mentioned that maybe in quarter one of 2026 is when that new company can start printing Pokemon cards. So there's potential for a lot more printing to happen, starting in quarter one of next year. So February, March, April probably. Um, so and what that means is that more product will hopefully be available. I think the biggest sign is if product starts staying on the shelves.
Yeah,
If you're able to walk in to a Target, at 8 p.m. after all the stocking for the day has been done, people have had a chance to see it multiple times, and there's still product there, like product that's worth ripping. That's a sign. Consistently, not like
yeah,
you got lucky and a week later everything is still gone. No, but like things are consistently starting to stay on the shelves. um maybe there's an item that's like people are like, ugh, I don't want this one, like Shrouded Fable, right? Like everyone hated Shrouded Fable.
yeah.
That stuff stayed on the shelves for days at a time. So if there starts to be product like that, I mean, that's definitely a sign that, we could be heading to a spot where, you know, the next couple of sets that are released, maybe there's a chance at MSRP prices, a lot more, opportunity, I could say,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
which will
No,
ultimately drive the market down.
yeah, yeah. It's crazy. It's just it's crazy to think how much more product Pokemon will need to print to curb
Hmm.
demand. I mean, yeah, maybe the printing facility that they purchased. Um, do you know where that facility is located? By the way, is it in the States?
I think it is in the States, yeah.
Okay, it'll be interesting to see if quarter one of 2026, if we can, when we start seeing the market stabilize. But I agree. I think if you start walking into Target, you walk into Walmart, and you start seeing product on the shelves, that's gonna be a big sign.
Well, and, you know, circling back to the printing stuff, Pokemon's strategy with this new printing facility won't be to print more prismatic, more Destined Rivals. They're going to focus on printing the heck out of the latest release,
Yeah,
just to curb that, the current, like people want the latest and greatest. Obviously, there's a lot of people that want, the old stuff too. But the average collector wants the latest. And Pokemon will try to appeal to them the most. So like maybe Phantasmal Flames, comes out in November. Maybe we get a reprint in March and February. I don't think that we'll see a ton of product for any Scarlet and Violet stuff, but so I think Mega Block sets, there's potential for it.
yeah,
Um, and one thing that'll call out is like Phantasmal Flames is a small set, and they
mm,
stripped the set of the Oricorio, the Shinji Kanda, which is now a guaranteed pull in the UPC. Um, there's really just the Charizard chase.
yeah,
Now I've said it before, I'll say it again. It's the best Charizard artwork ever,
Yeah.
in my opinion. Um, and we have the gold Mega Hyper Rare as well, Charizard. So
Yeah.
like there are two super sought after chases.
Yeah.
However, the set isn't very deep otherwise.
Yeah.
Because we don't have we're likely not getting the Mega Gengar, that was
Yeah.
so heavily rumored, to be getting an SIR. We're not getting that in this set. And so it's a small set. There's not a whole. It's not very deep. People might get tired of trying to pull that Charizard, and Phantasmal Flames might be a good candidate for Pokemon just print the heck out of when they have the opportunity to. Smaller set means less. You get literally less printing.
Hmm.
Maybe that's an opportunity where Pokemon is just like, you know what, this is the set that we're gonna bomb, and
Yeah.
if that Phantasmal Flame prices might drop significantly, in quarter one. Who knows? Just
Yeah.
speculating.
Yeah. We'll see. We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
Now, a big topic I wanted to talk to you about, Logan, is around discounts. So there are stores that offer, like, for example, they'll offer 10% off of your first order, or they'll offer free shipping after, um, you know, $250 from a purchased order, things like that. And then there's also sometimes we'll get customers that ask us, like, kind of behind closed doors, like through DMs, hey, if I buy this, this, and this, could I get X amount of dollars off? That happens all the time.
Yep.
So for store owners watching, Logan, what's your opinion on discounts in general? Let's start with you know, uh, reward points.
Yeah.
Let's start with discounts on your first order,
Yeah.
and people messaging us behind closed doors.
Yeah. So, I'll speak from experience. So Zippy's Card Corner, we used to offer 10% discount on customers that subscribe to the newsletter. We would give a 10% discount in that email that they could use on their next order. We've since reduced that to 5% discount. And the general idea is, as a small business, you're competing with so many other businesses, especially with Japanese product these days, that you're having to, we've talked about this in previous episodes. You don't, no one wins a race to zero, where you consistently price your product lower than everyone else to try and get sales. There are levers that you can use and pull and things like that to try and combat that and still get people on your site.
Yeah.
The idea, at least in my head, is okay. First, customers. I want them to feel like they can trust me. And that's why I do all the content that I do. However, they get on the site. They're not seeing a video of my face. They're not seeing that. So it's like they're on my site. I need to give them a way to trust me enough to hit that checkout and complete the buy button. So offering an intro bonus where 5% off, 10% off, I feel like is enough to entice them to do that. And people use it. Majority do not, though. So like it's there almost as just like a marketing incentive.
Mm-hmm.
And if everyone was using it, that would definitely hurt my profit margins and would reduce my ability to continue to supply more and more product. But not enough people use it to where that really affects me. So it's kind of like shipping. There are we'll get to shipping in a second. But if you offer a flat rate, there are customers who will pay shipping and it's actually going to be less than that. There are also going to be customers that it will actually be more. So at the end of the day, it kind of evens out. And that's sort
Usually
of the,
more.
yeah. Exactly. So that's usually, my mindset with the discounts. I'll pause there because we got to get into rewards points as well, but I'll pause there.
Yeah. So, and Logan hit on it a little bit. So, when you're starting a new Pokemon card business, you're competing against thousands of other card
Literally.
stores.
Yes.
And the number one thing you have to figure out as a business is how to build trust with customers and to incentivize customers to purchase from your store as opposed to anyone else's.
Yeah.
And that can be tricky sometimes. So I do think that offering a discount for first-time customers for stores starting out could be a valid strategy.
Yep.
Because when you're starting out, your goal really shouldn't be to maximize your profit. Your goal should be to build trust with your customers.
Right.
And I do think that for buyers that your first few buyers that buy from you, I do think it's cool that you give them like a special discount. So for context, when I first started, one of the things I did was I offered 2 free booster packs with every order when I
Mhm.
first started to help incentivize
Yeah.
and build trust with my customers. You know, as if someone buys from me, they get their package and it's packed well and they get it like, no issues, then I've built trust permanently with that customer.
Right.
I built a layer of trust permanently with that customer. And to me, at that time, that was worth 2 free booster packs.
Yeah.
That makes sense?
Yeah.
So I do think there's an element of that in the beginning. However, I don't think it's sustainable over a long period of time
Right.
for an established business. I do
Yeah.
think I do think there needs to be an element of strategy behind it, particularly for businesses starting out.
Yeah.
So keep that in mind. And then, uh, something that Logan and I both implement too is a reward system.
Yeah.
So, and I think that is a more sustainable model. Okay, you get so many points for how much money you spend, and then you can turn those points in for dollars off of your next order. I think that is a more sustainable model because points are built up over a longer period of time, um, and it's a reward system for customers that continuously purchase from you.
Right.
It's different than hey, 10% off your first order, and then the customer buys, and then they never buy from you again. They just use
Exactly.
the 10% discount,
Right.
and that's part of the reason why I don't think that's sustainable.
Yeah.
Um, so, and then my opinion, and I want your opinion on this too,
Yeah.
Logan, is about customers messaging us in DMs about like, hey, if I buy X, Y, and Z, will you give me $20 off or whatever?
Yeah.
So my opinion on that is, I want this to come across business owners watching, is I never do that. I
Yeah.
never do any backdoor deals ever. Not even for, you know, an insignificant amount of money off. I just don't do. I don't offer free shipping and nothing. Okay.
Yep.
And the reason why is I want to make sure my customers know that they're getting the best deal possible. The price they see on my website is the best possible deal, and it's the same deal that everyone gets.
Yeah. There's
And
no extra, hoops that they can jump through in
right,
order to receive a better offer.
exactly. So that's my opinion. I don't think business owners should do that ever, in my opinion. But Logan, I am interested to get your opinion on this.
No, I mean I think it's similar. Especially when you're going through the site. If you have customers that are on your website, doing the things that they should be doing, I think I generally agree. Um, Now, you know, there are scenarios where it's not necessarily a backdoor deal, but there are customers that I have, for example, that buy a significant more amount of product than any other customer that I have, magnitudes more than anyone else. Um, and these customers are consistent. And as a business owner that's supplying, you know, a bunch of product to these handful of people, like it starts to get away from discount and building up a relationship for long-term success to have both of us grow. Because I supply several whatnot streamers in my local area with product that they need immediately for their streams, and this has been consistent for months now. And so, there are times when they will buy, for transparency's sake, thousands of dollars worth of product in one order, and giving them a 5% discount because they have consistently done that for me when, and there's no risk of losing out product for other customers. If that was the case and I was selling out for everyone, every day or whatever, and I lose that opportunity to sell to the individual customer rather than my local whatnot streamers, then no longer would I give that discount because there's just not enough product to go around. And so, like for example, if I bought, let's use some simple numbers. If I bought 10 boxes of Inferno X and I didn't get a single order for a week, but my guy, one of my guy comes and he's like, hey, can I get 10 boxes today? And I know that I have another shipment coming in by the end of the week, and I haven't, gotten any orders over the past couple of days for Inferno X. So to me, it's worth it to sell the 10 boxes for, a 5% discount, because he's buying in bulk. And knowing that I will have more boxes coming in, I will not have lost customers because they wouldn't have sold out, or because they wouldn't have sold out anyways. That's sort of the thought process when it comes to discounts for larger customers.
Mm-hmm.
But generally, I do not offer. Like, people have asked, and I genuinely don't do it either.
Yeah, and I do think that's an interesting. That's
Scenario.
something I could agree with. If you're selling locally, and then also it's readily available product like Japanese booster boxes, for example, then yeah, I mean I can get on board with that. But as far as high demand product, especially like English, anything English,
Yeah,
no,
absolutely.
I definitely don't think that you should do any backdoor deals. And there are some businesses too that offer free shipping
Oh man.
as well. And okay, I'll say this: if you're gonna offer free shipping, you definitely should not also have a reward system. You should do one or the other.
Oh
And
yeah.
and Logan, I want to deep dive into shipping with you too, because that's another big topic I wanted to talk to you about. So like I said, I got some like 40 something orders during my last drop. It took me forever to pack everything. It probably took me something like 7 hours or so to
Yeah.
get everything packed.
Like, guys, we are small businesses that are operating out of our offices in our places of living.
Yeah.
We don't have, people to help out with it. We don't have, these fancy schmancy tools to make life, easier. We're taping every single box, flipping every box. Anyways, that's just a preface. I'll let you continue.
Yeah, I mean, so uh, shipping costs a lot of money.
Yeah.
Let's just put so like if you can think of like an 8x6x4 box, right? Think about that for a second. It's basically just big enough to hold an English booster box.
Yeah.
Think about that. It costs about $10 to ship that in the United States. Anywhere in the United States, it costs about $10. So you can imagine if you start offering free shipping past a certain dollar amount, let's say over a common amount is over $100.
Yeah.
The shipping
Yeah, you'll see
cost,
like free shipping after $100 in purchase.
Right. The shipping costs can easily get into 20 plus, 25 plus dollars
For
for a
large
$100+
items.
order.
Yeah,
So if you offer
exactly.
free shipping, then you could very well get into a place where you're losing money.
Yeah.
Forget breaking even. You could be losing money.
Well, and more context just to really hammer it home, the profit margins of Pokemon are not high.
Yeah.
We're looking at averaging probably 10%.
Yeah.
And tack on, that 5-10% discount for welcome email, and then you offer free shipping on top of that. All of a sudden, you're losing, $30 on 20, $30 on $100 order.
Yeah.
Um, and you were only hoping to gain $10, and so you paid for 90, you paid $90 for something, you sold it for 100, hoping to get 10%. Well, you just paid $20 to $30 for the discount and the shipping.
Yeah.
Um, you're losing 10-15%.
Yeah. I've had a lot of customers complain about my flat rate shipping. I think Logan, you offer the
Correct.
same thing, flat rate shipping of $10. I've
Yeah,
had a
it's
lot of customers complain, but the the truth is most of the time orders cost more than that to ship. It
yeah,
costs more than $10 to ship most of the time. I'd say probably 70% of the time at least it costs more than $10 to ship.
yeah,
Um, so that's one thing I always found interesting, how businesses offer free shipping, because in my opinion, at the end of the day, I think at least for some of the time they just lose money on that on
yeah,
those.
yeah. I mean, it kind of goes back to what we talked about last week, where it's like no one wins a race to zero. I think there's
Yeah.
just a ton of businesses out there that, for one reason or another, are okay with the smallest margin, just to get sales. And one thing that kind of ties back into discounts is I think that there's a lot of businesses that adopt this strategy of offering the world in the beginning, building up that trust, and then taking it away. And what I mean by that is, you offer free shipping for the first 6 months. You offer discounts and free rewards points and all this stuff, to entice the customer to buy from you, and low prices, like
Mhm.
lower prices than
Mhm.
anyone else.
Yeah.
Okay, well, you built up a customer base, people with repeat buyers, and then they attempt to start taking things away. They start taking away free shipping. They start taking away the discounts. The prices that were netting you less than 5% profit, now you're back up to market for the 10 to 15%. Um, and all of a sudden you're not looking so enticing anymore, and it's a big risk to bet that people will come back to you when you don't offer that anymore. And it's like it's something to think about.
Yeah.
Because trust is everything with your customers.
Yeah.
And if they start to lose trust that you are going to be consistent and on their side, uh, then people won't come to you. They'll go to one of the other 1,000 Japanese Pokemon card stores. Um, it's risky business.
It is.
And my advice for starting stores is, kind of like what Alex said, you know, offer a welcome discount at your own risk. Maybe it's initial. Rewards points probably a lot more sustainable. Free shipping is rough. It's probably not something that I would recommend. Because I've been bitten by it before, where like
Yeah.
I've tried to offer free shipping over $250. Well, you underestimate. There's people that will buy $250 plus of product very
Yeah.
easily. And unfortunately, when you have a $250 order, that typically amounts to a lot of items. Well, when you have a lot of items to ship, what happens? Well, it's bigger boxes or it's multiple packages, you offer free shipping, you're paying a ton now. And
Yeah.
anyways, it just hammering home the point that just be careful.
Yeah. It's very tricky. I mean, you have to, you know, you have to put a lot of thought behind putting any kind of offering discounts, offering free shipping. You have to put a lot of, and it should be a very specific and thought out strategy.
Yeah.
Okay. It's important to build trust, especially when you're just starting and you don't have any reviews, you don't have any testimonials,
Yeah.
right? I get it. But I do think that you should be marketing those discounts and, whatever you're offering in a very thought out way.
Right.
Like, hey, we're offering this for a very limited time for first time buyers, for our first 3 months of opening, whatever, right? But trust is a very fragile thing.
Yeah.
So you have to be careful as a business not to break that trust with your customers.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Um, now Logan, so the human sort of toll of shipping has been a very surprising thing to me. Um, like, because Pokemon has so many different dimensions
Yeah.
for their product.
Yeah. It's
Like the
tough.
poster collections are different than the special EX collection boxes and the
Yep.
the binder collection boxes and the
ETBs.
ETBs and the
Yeah.
booster bundle
Right.
and then you have like the long like the blooming water collection
The
boxes.
huge boxes. Yeah.
So and the obvious answer is to get um you know boxes for every single one of those, right? You could take every single, type of dimension that Pokemon prints out. There's probably like 15 of them,
Yep.
and you have boxes dedicated for those.
Yeah.
But I have not done that yet because for some of those boxes, I don't get that many of them. And
It doesn't
boxes
make
are
sense.
not cheap, by the way.
Right.
They can be expensive, even when you buy them in bulk. I mean, they could be, if you buy, for example, like the boxes that ship the blooming water boxes, like the big collection boxes. If you buy those in bulk, it's still like $2 a box
Right.
if you buy them in bulk, even. So they're not cheap. So you kind of have to, play this sort of, uh,
Hmm.
you kind of have to weigh it out and be like, is it worth spending $500 on boxes to ship this specific item
Yeah.
when I haven't even sold 500 of these boxes in the lifetime of my store? You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
there is that that plays into it.
Yeah. It's really weird, because I'm in the same boat. I know that a lot of other businesses are in the exact same boat. Like it's just, for for a lot of my drops, like I'm having to utilize old boxes. I don't throw boxes away anymore.
Yeah,
From
same.
Amazon shipments or Target or Walmart or anything like that. I don't throw those away. They're in a stack in my garage. Um, and every English drop, I have to go searching in my garage to try and find a box that will fit. Because this person bought a special EX box. They bought an ETB. They bought a booster bundle. And then, it's like, okay, well, I have maybe one box that attempts to efficiently pack it. Well, I now have to use up a bunch of craft paper or bubble wrap to fill space so that it's not like, banging around.
Exactly.
Um, every single order. And, Alex said that he packed over 40 orders last weekend. So like when he says that he spent 7 hours doing it, I absolutely believe it. Um, it's a very weird consequence of growing,
Yeah.
and like I haven't quite figured out at what point I bite the bullet to maybe be more efficient. In terms of buying more boxes. Um, yeah, because just kind of like you said, if you don't buy in bulk, the big Blooming Waters boxes that will hold two Blooming Waters products, you're looking at $3-4 a box. Guys, reiterating
Nova.
again, profit margins in this in this business are so small. Four
Yeah,
dollars is 4% on $100 order.
yeah.
Like, it's just all of this is comes into play. And it's so technical, and it's so, everything is so differently sized. It's a weird problem to have.
Yeah. And it makes you wonder, like a Brian from Pokey who gets, you know, 20 plus thousand sometimes in orders
Yeah.
in one day. Like,
One day.
how does he deal with shipping? I know he has people that help him, but for the longest time, it was just him.
Yeah.
It was just him and his wife that were packing up orders.
We can figure
I
out
think
a
what
system.
needs to happen to be more efficient is you have to memorize dimensions.
Yeah.
You
Memorize
need to start
dimensions, memorize weight.
memorizing dimensions of your boxes, memorizing weight of the box and the products.
Yep.
Because I'm sure like a binder collection of Black Bolt and White Flare is going to be the same as a binder collection from Prismatic Evolutions.
Ish.
You
Yeah,
know,
probably.
about
Something
the
like
same,
that.
right? Maybe you're up by a couple ounces. Um, but I do think that's going to have to be the end game in order for us as businesses to be able to ship faster and more efficiently and grow, um,
Yeah.
and have and grow sustainably, right?
I think something that leads into our next topic is this conversation is, like, as you grow, as you get better with your systems and being efficient and organization and all that good stuff. Um, what goes hand in hand is space,
Yeah,
right? Like, I mentioned earlier how you and I are both operating our businesses out of our own house, my office, your office. It's piling up with
yeah,
product, especially for my English drop that I sort of build up week over week. Um, like, what's the short, medium, long term, path that you have for handling space, as you grow, as you get more efficient orders, right? Like, I have all this Pokemon product. What if I buy 200 boxes of 6x6x4 boxes, for bulk, to get the best price? That's a whole that's a large amount of boxes. Like, like, what does space look like for you in the near, medium, and long term?
yeah. I mean, where are you gonna put hundreds of boxes from 10 different dimensions, and how are
I
you gonna
know.
organize it? And like that gets nuts really quick. Not to mention, you know, your other shipping supplies, your bubble wrap, your
Tape.
packing paper, your
Yeah.
all of that too. I
Yep.
joke sometimes. So I have what I call the box graveyard,
Yeah.
and it's a gigantic stack of boxes
Yep.
that I hold on to in my office. So I started off in a big closet I call the Pokemon card closet,
Hmm.
and I've completely grown out of it. And
Yeah.
I've actually had to kick. Um, it sounds bad. I had to kick my wife out of the office because we were sharing this office, and unfortunately, my Pokemon card business has completely taken it over. So this
Yeah.
whole office is just basically filled with Pokemon card stuff.
Yep.
Boxes and shipping supplies and
Right.
and sealed product and so on. Um, so yeah, I mean the short term goal for me is thankfully, I think you and I are in a bit of the same boat. We have good day jobs.
Yeah.
So that's enabled me to have a decent sized house, and I have a full size garage, 2.5 car garage.
Yeah.
So I will be able to start putting some stuff out there
Expand there.
when I
Yeah.
need to. But the long term though, and this is probably 2 or 3 years down the road, eventually I'm gonna grow out of this house.
Yeah.
And at that point, I'm gonna need like
At the rate you're growing.
at the rate we're growing, yeah. Eventually I'm gonna need like some external, you know,
Storage
place to
space.
put
Yeah.
the stuff. Yeah, whether that's like maybe we'll move and we'll get like a big pool barn put on the property. I don't know. I have plans. But yeah, I mean that's gonna be a huge challenge, and I don't think the option of leasing space is in the cards. I don't want to do that. That's the last thing I want to do. I don't want to add any overhead to the Pokemon card business. So
Yeah.
I would highly not recommend that to store owners facing this problem.
If you're leasing space, you might as well just open up a brick and mortar. And at that point, my expertise is out the window.
Yeah,
That is something that I am terrified of for other people who do it.
yeah, same.
Uh, that is your journey. I'll
Yeah,
leave you to it. But
yeah,
yeah, similar boat. I think right now my office is jam packed with Pokemon stuff as well. It's a small room. Um, Luckily, we have a guest bedroom that we don't have a whole lot of guests staying with us. So we're in the process of kind of transferring that to from my office to this guest bedroom. We'll get some shelves, we'll get a table, we'll set up a little, shipping station, packing orders, things like that. And I'm hoping that that can at least hold me over for, the next year or so. After that, we'll see. I don't know. It's funny. I was talking to Alex about this. Like Brian Pokey, he has a house in Nebraska where he has his entire business in his huge basement. I live in Texas. Texas doesn't have basements, so like that option is out the window. So like I got to figure something else out, um, because I know that my girlfriend doesn't want our house to be all Pokemon cards. Um, but it's another interesting problem when you grow. It's you're having to buy a lot more things and shipping, certain tools and supplies. It's like you know it gets interesting because when you buy Japanese product, you're crossing your fingers that you can sell all of this in a decent amount of time. Um, it, you know, with boxes, it's like you're taking another, risk where you're tying up money, in boxes that, if you want a good deal, you're paying for 200 boxes at a time, and it's like I don't even know if I've had 200 orders in my business lifetime, because we haven't really taken
yeah,
off since the past like 4 or 5 months. Um, so it's like, however, that 200 boxes might be something that you need, in the next 6 months. So it's a weird time. It's exciting. I think Alex and I are both super grateful for where we're at and kind of where we're going.
yeah,
But it is interesting.
yeah. We came a long way, man. We both
Yeah,
have.
it's crazy.
You especially. Logan's up to pushing 16,000 followers now.
That,
Crazy.
yeah. Yeah, I wish we had more time in this episode to dive into more of the topics, but
Yeah,
we're already at time. Is there
yeah,
anything else that you wanted to kind of leave us off with on with Alex?
yeah. I would say, guys, we enjoy these podcasts, and we want to continue doing them. We want to. This is a long term project we have, but it is very important.
Yeah.
Please like and subscribe. Please share this with your friends. Comment in our videos. Anything you want to see different, any topics you want us to talk about, would be
Yeah, I
super
mean, we had
cool. DM us, comment, anything.
we had a
Would
guy
be
comment
great.
in one of our videos that we were scalpers. Like, I welcome it.
Good.
It supplies us more conversation. It gives us an opportunity to kind of address it, kind of give our stance. And that's sort of what I was doing earlier, where I was kind of giving my perspective on why it is that I sell English Pokemon cards above MSRP but below market. I get the sentiment. We're in a crazy time. A lot of people can't get product at all. And so I get it. Leaving any sort of comments, feedback, support, hate, again, calling us scalpers. Like
Sure.
it gives us opportunities to engage with the community, answer questions, show our personality, show a, give you insight into the Pokemon market, just as a business in general, right? There's a lot of people that, are curious about what it is that happens on a day to day. And that's the point of this podcast. So
Yeah.
any sort of comment, any sort of engagement would be super, super appreciated.
Yeah, for sure. Well said. But yeah, with that, guys, we'll go ahead and sign off. Thank you so
Cool.
much for tuning in to the Poke Table podcast, and we'll catch you guys later.
Sounds good. See y'all.